Alrighty guys, we're back for Mini Reanimator, and this is a Duskmourn standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, this was a patron suggestion, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. What kind of cards are we gonna be reanimating in here? Well, we have all four. Abhorrent Oculus, a 3-mana 5/5 with flying, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Manifest Dread. How do you do that? Look at the top two cards of your library. Put one onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature and the other into your graveyard. Turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. Pretty cool stuff, but how does a card like this become only 3 mana? Well, as an additional cost, to cast this spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. That's honestly not going to be unheard of in this build, but of course we're going to be trying to bypass that additional cost with our reanimation spells, which we'll go over in just a second. What else would we not mind reanimating in here? Well, we have all four Screaming Nemesis, a 3-mana 3/3 with haste. When it's dealt damage, deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game, bro. Okay, we have a couple Monastery Mentors as well, 3-mana 2/2 with prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. Cool stuff. So, those reanimation spells I was talking about, we got 4 recommissions. A 2-mana sorcery, return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a creature, it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Not bad. We have a new one here, Surgical Suite. For just 1 and a white, it's an enchantment room. When you unlock this door, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then the other side of this room is Hospital Room. For 3 and a white, whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. Not bad, but I do wonder how often we're actually going to choose to unlock that side of the room. So we do have more ways to reanimate our powerful 3-drop creatures. We have 3 Helping Hand in here as well. 1 mana sorcery. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield, except this time it's tapped instead. And that's why it's only 1 mana. Of course, Helping Hand and bringing back Nemesis isn't like the most ideal thing because then you won't be able to utilize haste, but it's still a very powerful 3-drop creature. Helping Hand, of course, hitting something like the Oculus is going to be terrific because then it passes back to your opponent. And then at the beginning of that upkeep, you get that Manifest Dread too, so you'll get like a chump blocker at the very least. Anyways, that's besides the point. How are we getting these 3 drops into the grave? Well, whole bunch packed in. We got 4. Fear of Missing Out. 2 mana, 2/3 enchantment creature. Now, when it enters, discard a card, then draw a card. It's definitely worth noting that that does not say may discard a card. You have to discard a card, then draw a card. Now, it does have Delirium whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time each turn. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, which I don't think is going to be unheard of in here at all, you untap target creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. That sounds really sick with a big old chunky Oculus flying in a couple times in 1 turn, right? What else do we got packed in? How else can we pack these cards into our graveyard? Well, we have all 4 Bitter Reunions. Of course, when it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Okay. Then that bottom ability for just 1 mana, sacrifice Bitter Reunion. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn, which sounds pretty good if you're reanimating an Oculus and then you can pop a Reunion on the same turn, give that Oculus haste. Sounds awesome. Got 4 Archaeologist in here too. This is a 2-mana 0/3. When it enters, mill 3 cards. You may put a non-creature, non-land card from among the milled cards into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on Archaeologist. That's awesome because if you end up milling away your recommissions or something, you can just grab them back from the grave with that ability. Cool stuff. So of course we need some removal packed in. We got a couple Pyroclasms this time. Not hitting any of our creatures outside of the Mentor, but we only got a couple Mentors in here anyways. So Pyroclasm's a 2-mana sorcery, deals 2 damage to each creature. We'll see how much that actually does for us when the Screaming Nemesis is out too, or a couple of them, right? That Pyroclasm can be super deadly. So other removal packed in, we're just opting for fast early game removal with 3 Torch the Tower, which I don't think it would be completely unheard of to actually use that bargain ability in here when we do have a lot of enchantments and stuff. But then also we have 3 Elspeth Smite 2, just being very powerful early game removal. The mana base, guys, hopefully I landed on something here. Realistically, we're just splashing blue in the mana base. Fabled Passage made the cut even though we only have 21 land, because it's an extra way to get a land into the grave for the Delirium on the Fear of Missing Out. Okay, guys, honorable mentions. All of these almost made the cut. Shore Up was a card I thought about. Get Lost, just more valuable removal, sounds awesome. Chart a Course almost made the cut. Invasion of Mercadia. Battles are an additional card type for that Delirium, so definitely something to consider at the very least. Also, there's no artifacts packed in. I actually considered Dragon Engine as a potential reanimation target. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take this into some ranked and see how we do. Right into that first game. What am I expecting from the build? Dude, I think it's going to be really hard to pilot. I know one thing, it was really hard to go over. There's a lot of stuff packed in. This is a good hand, right? Opponent goes first, unfortunately, but I don't think we can complain about this. We grab white source turn 1 if we don't draw one, right? We draw a white source then. Oh, yeah, there's a plains. We could stick to that plan, but I don't think so. Just going to get the canal down and be happy about it. Now it's going to come down to which one do we want to attempt to reanimate here. And also, is it Bitter Reunion or Fear of Missing Out? Could be a counterspell from the opponent. I think we'll go... I think I'll go Fear of Missing Out, actually, for the extra creature on the board. We'll see what happens here. And I guess I'd rather them counter the Fear of Missing Out because we get a little bit more card advantage with the Bitter. Then the question is, what do we want to hit with the Recommission? Mentor or Nemesis? I'm going to say Mentor. Yeah, that's totally fine. Another Bitter Reunion. Okay. I don't mind seeing it by any means. Okay, Herd Migration. Opponent goes up to 23 here. Grabs a forest. Overlord. That's not good news. They get a little bit of ramp here. Archaeologist. Okay. Okay. Well, while they're tapped out, oh man, next turn they could easily wipe the board. The Recommission is so tempting. Wait till the end of their turn to pop the Fabled Passage, probably. This is sorcery speed, so might as well do it now. They're tapped out anyways. No point waiting till main phase 2, right? Swing for 2 and hope that we don't lose both of our creatures. And I think we might grab a red source with this Fabled Passage based on our hand here. Okay. Luckily that's a tapped land. Other words, that could have been a Sunfall turn. Are we at the end of their turn already? Wow. Yeah, they're just passing it right back. Let's grab that red source. Mountain. It's a plains. Okay. Okay. I'm afraid to play the Nemesis. I'm afraid to get too many creatures out there, aside from the free ones from the Mentor, of course. Might be Archaeologist for the turn 2. Well, this affects combat, so we're going to do it before combat, because Prowess boosts the Mentor. I don't know how much Torch the Tower is going to do for us right now. So I think that's the discard. I don't want to ditch the Nemesis when we don't have a efficient way to get it back yet. Okay, Oculus, that's good news. Probably going to be Archaeologist. Just mill more. Sorry, opponent. Let's get the planes down. And let's, yeah, skip the second Bitter Reunion for the turn. Swing for 6. Some spot removal. Okay, Elspeth Smite coming down. So maybe it won't be a board wipe next turn. I think we're safe to play the Archaeologist. Plus, it doesn't really matter much if the Archaeologist gets picked up anyways. It's really here for the mill and maybe pick up like a Recommission or something off of it. Yeah, or a Surgical Suite. There we go. That's freaking sick, dude. And we milled a Nemesis too. That's really cool. Sunfall, right on time. I don't know. I don't know, like, we're not out of this, but I don't know who this is leaning towards. Really don't. Of course, getting Oculus on the board would be sweet, because we got to fly over this Overlord when it comes time. Well, 5th mana is pretty good, though, so we get that down. Screaming Nemesis a couple times over would definitely warrant the second Sunfall. Yeah. Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. We should probably go Bitter Reunion. That way we get Oculus set up for next turn on the Surgical. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Yeah, because, like, you kind of just feel it sometimes, right? Like, second Sunfall's probably there. This is a much slower turn, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, Bitter Reunion. Let's get the Oculus into the grave and see what we draw. Oh, a Helping Hand. That's perfect. Helping Hand for Oculus. Meanwhile, a Surgical Suite for the Nemesis. That's really good. That's really, really good. Well, I doubt they want to block there. Coast might be a discard at some point. We don't necessarily need it right now. Let's go Surgical Suite. Alright, it lands. Bring back Screaming Nemesis. It's really hard to block Screaming Nemesis, especially with a big old chunky creature. They might just take the 6 here. Actually, if they do end up blocking, that would be pretty devastating for them, as we do have the Torch the Tower. We actually had an option here, guys, to bring back Oculus and give it haste with the Reunion too. But I think the Nemesis was still a perfectly fine grab since we have Helping Hand in hand too. Before the blocks, we have an option to take care of the 3/3. Let's do that. Get that bargain going. And just one of the Bitter Reunions is fine, because I don't want to get rid of the Hospital Room, because that might honestly come in handy here. Like extra counters onto the Oculus or something. Yeah. Alright. Let's see what the opponent ends up doing. Elspeth Smite? Okay. Okay, that's damage. So I think we just poke face, right? Especially with our other Elspeth Smite in hand right now. Oh, we only have one white source open. We'll have to decide. Oh, okay, they don't block anyways. Oh no, now we're in blocking step. Yeah, they're gonna let it go. Okay, so Helping Hand could bring back Oculus. We'd get the whole... No, we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't. I'm gonna play that because we might need excess mana next turn if we're unlocking the Hospital Room. Yeah, we shouldn't, because if we bring back Oculus, Manifest Dread, that's definitely very tempting for them to wipe the board. Yeah. Yeah, we just use Helping Hand to reset the board when it comes time. In the meantime, though, if we're allowed to keep a Nemesis around a little bit, then that Hospital Room might really come in handy. Traxa's a big problem, dude. Oh, no. I don't know why I wasn't anticipating any top end from the opponent, but, oh, they can't gain life. Okay, well, there still might be a way through, though. Yeah, Nemesis ability really coming in handy. All right, passing it on back. Yeah, since they can't gain life, this could be... Actually, that's crazy to think about. Archaeologist is decent. I think we're going to unlock the room, but actually... Yeah, we're going to unlock the room here. Then we go for the swing. Swing. Oh, I tapped 2 of my white sources down. Crap, guys. Just keep an eye. Keep an eye on the auto tapper for 3 mana colored builds. Mostly talking to myself there, because now we won't be able to use Helping Hand for the turn. Either way, Elspeth Smite. Oh, we can Elspeth Smite our own Nemesis, then hit the opponent's face for 3, and then hit the opponent's face for 7. Yeah, there we go. I almost missed that, guys. Almost missed that. Since they can't gain life from the lifelink, that's crazy, dude. Holy cow. That's awesome. And that was only possible. View battlefield. That was only possible because of the hospital room. Giving that extra counter. Of course, like, that's not the only way to give it the extra counter in the build, right? Recommission, of course, can bring it to a 4/4 too. Holy cow, guys. That felt pretty good. That was awesome. Let's keep the ball rolling. It just kind of felt like we had a lot of options, and at any point in the game, it just never felt like we were it never felt like we were out of that game, you know? That was really cool. Yeah, so I went through a couple different variations of this build, and one of them just splashed the red. Oh, there we go. We found an opponent. Yeah, one of the variations just splashed the red, and then it came down to, well, is the splash of red even worth it at that point? So then I just really heavily leaned red here. But it's like, it's Boros with a splash of blue now, which is kind of cool. Opponent goes first. I'm going to keep this. I don't see anything wrong with this when we have all those dual land. Like, okay, Mountain Heartfire Hero. I guess the first one will be the Vantage. I think that makes the most sense. None of our early spot removal that exiles, so we might be in trouble early on here. Pyroclasm should still do the thing, though. They go for the plot for the turn. That's good news. Well, I doubt we're dead next turn. But it will be their turn 3 with a free slick shot. So I guess technically they could probably have it. But we should try for the setup here. Bitter Reunion. We'll ditch the Nemesis because we have Recommission in hand. Okay, more land, Archaeologist. Okay, free show off. I go for the swing. Yeah, I guess like a couple boosts and then a throw of the hero could do this. I think. Monstrous Rage, Monstrous Rage. Well, there's a couple boosts. They still got the one mountain. Alright, yeah. It's gonna be a third Monstrous Rage, guys. Holy cow. And you know what? Because of Monstrous Rage, the monster roll token sticking around gets around the Pyroclasm, which is actually devastating. Well, that's going to happen from time to time. That is why we have all that early spot removal in. So maybe, depending on who's going first, we might need to mulligan to look for some of that early spot removal, right? Possible. Yeah, not much we can do. Unfortunately, we'll recommission to show the opponent what the deck is up to. And that's that. They're going to swing in the air with the show off. Of course, no one could have guessed a triple Monstrous Rage, but it didn't have to be triple Monstrous Rage. Like, these builds have been around for a while. A lot of stuff that they could do to boost up. I'll tell you what, though, with this play, yeah, Elspeth Smite would be huge for us. They find a Swift Spear anyways, so I'm assuming even if we had the Elspeth Smite, that wouldn't do anything for us, right? So Good game, opponent. See here, like if we had it, we could pop the Slickshot Show Off, and then I'm assuming the Swift Spirit still would have gotten there, even if it was just with Prowess or something. They still got one card in hand there. Yeah, that'll happen. Let's keep the ball rolling. Only we'll roll it to some victories here instead. I think that even if we had known what we were up against, I think I would have still convinced myself that that was a keepable hand. Like, after the fact, we could say, well, we needed a mulligan to see the faster removal, but like we still had Pyroclasm in hand too, so I don't know. On it goes first. See, this is like, this could be same case scenario. This could be literally the same matchup without any of our early land. This time we don't have a way to actually trade out to. Really hard to send when you have all three mana colors in hand. It's really hard to send it, you know? With Pyroclasm, like, I felt safe last time. Do I feel safe this time? I'm going to drop the mulligan. We're going to try to find some of that early removal just in case. Oh, well, the hand actually got much better, didn't it? I'm going to keep this. Because we can have a early Oculus, easy peasy, with this hand. I'll send the Fear of Missing Out, because we only need one for what this hand is doing. And instead of Archaeologist, we'll go for the Fear of Missing Out, too. Screaming Nemesis. Well, it's not mono red. I guess that's good news. Canal will come down. Fear of Missing Out on 2. Ditch the Oculus, I'm assuming. Torch the tower. Yeah, that's probably better than Nemesis when you have that as an option. I guess it depends, though. Right? If we had Recommission in hand, I guess it would be tempting for the Nemesis if we're up against Control. Up the beanstalk. All right. We'll see what we can pull off here. Recommission. Okay. So it's probably helping hand. It's a couple turns away from the Sunfall turn. Still a couple turns. All right. Fabled Passage, probably gonna grab, I was gonna say red source, but maybe a white source actually. Not 100% certain what I want to do there. All right, helping hand. Let's grab that Oculus. Let's swing with the Fear of Missing Out. All right, let's see. Manifest Dread that got the Leyline Binding. Get some card draw here. Is this at the beginning of their turn? It is. It's right at the beginning. Well, hitting the Oculus is pretty huge for them. We still get the Manifest Dread, right? We do. Oh, another Oculus. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. As a matter of fact, I guess we could have grabbed the Archaeologist instead and sent the Oculus to the grave for the Recommission. I didn't even consider that. Red source or white source? I'm gonna grab a white source for some reason. Just a gut feeling. Oh, helping hand. Nice. Wow. Okay. I think I'm just gonna flip the Oculus for the turn. Don't want to put too much onto the board when they might wipe the board next turn. Manifest Dread. Unfortunately, Sunfall exiles, so... which one do I want in the grave? I guess we'll put the Elspeth Smite in the grave. We have Sorcery, Creature, Land, and an Instant. So we have Delirium for the Fear of Missing Out. Bird Migration, guys. Oh, okay, Leyline Binding for the Oculus. Okay, I was going to say, might have a really good swing next turn. They did miss the board wipe, which is huge. Yeah. It's really, really huge, actually. If we had a 4th mana, we'd go like, well, probably not. We want to save as much as possible. Just get the Screaming Nemesis down for the turn. And swing and untap Nemesis. This is kind of crazy, dude. Really cool. Opponent's down to 4. Now I expect a board wipe. There's the Sunfall. All right. Restock their hand. Yeah, unfortunately, the Exile's brutal. Ripping the Nemesis out of the game. I think we want to go Archaeologist and try to hit something, right? Hit a creature that we wouldn't mind using the Helping Hand on. Wow. And a Surgical Suite too. I'll take that to the hand. And I don't mind doing this on the same turn, because if we already force them into a second Sunfall, and I think we might be okay for a second. I guess Atrax is going to be pretty scary because we don't have another Nemesis right now. We had second Nemesis in hand. Okay, Archangel's going to easily pick up that Mentor. They power up the 3/3. They go for the swing. I'm just going to say no blocks. The Archaeologist probably has a better chump block in its future. Seachrome Coast. I don't mind seeing more mana here. They have a decent setup. 1 second, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. There's a lot of stuff to think about. I want to save the Recommission for if we find another Screaming Nemesis in the grave. Surgical Suite. I mean, we have 2 reanimation things, so... Torch the tower, only hitting for 2. Nothing to really... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Fear of Missing Out. Send one of the Torch the towers. Of course, something to consider is when we do find that Screaming Nemesis, but this is fine. We do find untapped mana. I'm going to go for it. Get the untapped mana down. Surgical Suite. Like, Recommission on the Mentor could be good if we think they have another Archangel, which they very well could. Could also bring back the Archaeologist and, like, mill more into the grave, but I think it's Mentor. I think that's okay. Yeah, the opponent is at 6 because they are still gaining life, so maybe there was a play earlier that was a little less risky with the Nemesis where we potentially could have, like, add this dealt damage and took the life gain out of the equation, because these style of decks rely on a lot of life gain. Oh, that has lifelink too. Wow, yeah, this is a problem. But I think we can still get there. Okay, Bitter Reunion's not half bad, huh? We'll send the Coast. It's a tapped land right now anyways, and hopefully we find a red source then. But we don't necessarily need one because we do have the Recommission. Yeah, we're definitely looking for more though. Nemesis. Okay. Okay, now we're talking. We can't get this Nemesis on the board right now, though. That's the problem. Next turn, we'll be able to. Is this Recommission going to be worth it? Wait, we have nothing in the grave outside of the Archaeologist anyways. No red source there. That'll be a 4/4. If we play Recommission, that just doesn't seem great, does it? I think we have to wait, right? To awkwardly pass it back. Yeah, if this was an untapped red source, that could have been a different turn, right? I guess at that point, though, we would have just played Nemesis and had a swing. They would have blocked it with the weakest link, right? Which I think they still had their 3/3 untapped. Temporary lockdown is a huge problem. It does pick up their 3/3. That's good at least. It does pick up their up the beanstalks too. Oh no, and my room. Look at this. There are 6 cards under this temporary lockdown. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take the 9. They're going back up to 12, probably feeling pretty good about this situation. For good reason, right? Oh, Archangel. Brutal, brutal stuff. So again, if I would have used Recommission on it instead of the Surgical Suite, that would have been a 3/3, so we do have Nemesis. This is definitely the opponent's, right? I can't imagine getting around this. We do have Nemesis. We do have the swing. I guess, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? No way to block the angels in the air, so we'll just go for the swing. We'll go for the torch the tower play on the angel. Like, we could do this to the Nemesis and then hit their face that way, but they're at 14. There's no real reason to, like, play around the lifelink, right? Drop the GGs to the opponent. That was a tough uphill battle for sure. I think that could have easily been anyone's game, guys. That temporary lockdown was huge for the opponent. Domain looking really good. All right, guys, how far are we? 31 minutes. Holy cow. This deck list is pretty fun to play, guys. Time is just flying by. While I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description. Excuse me, guys, I'm losing my voice. It's a little bit of a different time of the day. It's very late at night right now, so bear with me, right? Yeah, check out that description where we have that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link, too, if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. Uh-oh, no white source. Wait, does it matter? Did we try this? We go first. Archaeologist is interesting. No, we should mulligan. We should mulligan, because the hands overall have been pretty decent. Uh-oh. It got worse. Let's do it. Aggressive mulligans. Let's go. One more. Down to 5. How often do we do that? Not very. Woo! It's actually a little better, right? Keep 5. And we got red source on Fabled Passage. We send one of the Pyroclasms. And we send... Wait, yeah, red source on Passage, then keep the coast, right? Yeah. Somehow, like, this actually worked out, right? Like, these 5 cards were definitely better than the other hands. Either way, we want to make sure we have 2-on-2, especially because there's so many 2-drops in the build. I'm going to start with that Fabled Passage. The opponent also starts with the Fabled Passage. Grab a mountain. And they're grabbing a mountain. Now we'll see. It's going to be a plains. Ooh, I don't mind land. I don't mind land, but what we really need is a way to send this Oculus to the grave. But land isn't bad too, because at like the absolute worst, if we see more mana, then maybe we'll start with Hospital Room or something, right? Establish something onto the board. Pyroclasm not coming in handy too much today, but I'll tell you what, it would have come in handy though. It would have come in handy against that last deck when we had Nemesis on the board, but we weren't able to keep Nemesis around effectively, right? Not until the very end. All right, awkwardly passing it back, guys. Maybe I should have just kept that first hand. Liliana, thanks, opponent.
And you think you can win? You won't be outsmarted.
That's really funny, man. Thank you. Some opponents. Now they do have the sacrifice. Okay, they definitely. Yeah. They'll be able to. No. Oculus is crazy, dude. The Manifest Dread at their upkeep. Surgical Suite. Oculus. We do have Torch the Tower too, so that's actually pretty brutal. If they go -2, we just pop the 2/2. The other one goes to the grave, so we'll put an instant in the grave. That's fine. Now we get a land in an instant. We're about to have another instant in the grave anyways, but yeah, we want to keep an eye on that for Delirium. Maybe they just go plus. It's kind of risky though, because we could just continuously plug more. Okay, they do go for -2 here. So of course we want to just sacrifice the 2/2. Let's see if they double down on removal. Oh, Atrax is in the grave. So the Rite of the Moth has flashback for 3 double white. Oh, Beseech the Mirror. Interesting. Wonder what they want to grab here. They didn't have the bargain, did they? Oh, they did have the bargain with the Overlord. Wonder what they want. I wonder if we even want to go torch the tower on Liliana. Oh, Rite of the Moth. Dude, that's actually insane. I wasn't like, yeah, I wonder what they want. Yeah, Rite of the Moth, 4 mana card. Atraxa coming down here. I don't know if we're going to be able to get around this, man. That's crazy. That's a turn 4 Atraxa, right? Holy cow. Got to keep an eye on this one, huh? It does have a finality counter on it, at least, right? But, this is another instance where without that Screaming Nemesis getting around that lifelink, yeah, I don't know. Alright, let's go torch the tower. And pop the Liliana. And then we'll see if the Pyroclasm deals with the Atraxa. But we don't want them to gain too much life, too, so... You do find a 4th mana for the hospital room. Yeah, look at all the cards in their hand too, and we're just like slowly but surely fizzling out. Yeah, hospital room is when you attack, and it'll just be a 6/6 at that point, so... honestly, they should probably just take the 5 here. Right? Because they know we have Torch the Tower in the deck list now. They also can see the Elspeth Smite. Well, at least the Pyroclasm did something, right? And the finality counter does exile it too. At that point, though, oh, we'll be able to actually just fully cast the Oculus from our hand, which is super neat. That'll be fun. Collector's Vault. Not on my watch. The Overlord with Beseech the Mirror, I just was not expecting that Rite of the Moth for some reason. It's so cool to me. Like, we definitely got to try something like that. It's a really, really neat lineup. All right. Oh, Helping Hand. Oh. It's too bad we don't have one more thing in the grave, right? Well, Helping Hand at least will grab something else next turn, because we do have the Manifest Dread. But either way, we're in a lot of trouble, man. Yeah, we fizzled out pretty fast. None of our bitter reunions or anything fancy. They do have a Bitter Triumph for the Oculus. Helping Hand. There we go. Ooh, Screaming Nemesis. There we go. Wait a minute. Yeah. That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. Yeah, Helping Hand brings it back tapped, so we wouldn't be able to utilize the haste the same way we would if we were just flipping it face up next turn and still having a plains available. Oh, crap. Dude, this card's crazy. They had another one. Actually, okay, yeah. They saw 3 of them, but then it still has flashback too. All right, let's see. Flying, lifelink, ward, sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. If a card you didn't control be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it. Wow, I see how it is. During your turn, you may play cards exiled with Valgavoth. Okay. I can pay life. I know, opponent. I'm sorry. My first time seeing the card being played. Surprisingly, right? All right, let's just swing. Yeah, we're in so much danger, guys. It doesn't really matter, does it? Haha, surprise. No more lifelink for you. We can't even target this because we don't have 3 non-land permanents to sacrifice. So we're actually forced to target face. So no life gain is huge. They do drop us the nice thank you. And back that Oculus. And Helping Hand gets exiled. That's crazy, dude. Anything that goes to the grave from the Manifest Dread, they'll also exile with that Velgavoth as well. They have more spot removal for the Oculus too, and that also gets exiled. Okay. Okay, so Mentor, okay. And then the Torch the Tower gets exiled. Dude, this is crazy, actually. How did it take me this long after the set to see somebody playing this? Okay, that's the flashback Rite of Moth, right? Yes. Oh, they had another Atraxa just chilling in the grave. So incredibly powerful top-end creatures that are really hard to deal with an effective way to get them out on turn 4. This is sick, dude. This is really cool. Actually, it's terrifying, but no less terrifying than what mono red is right now, so definitely letting the opponent play this out. And plus, I want to see what's on top as well. Screaming Nemesis kind of showing off a bit today, really limiting a lot of the opponent's life gain. Not like it really matters in this game, but like still kind of cool. They go ahead and play Oculus, actually. Huh. They got Manifest Dread, the Oculus too. Another Screaming Nemesis. Okay, I'll go for it. What in tarnation? Struck gold. That's funny. And the opponent and I are having a good time. Let's see if I have any. There we go. There it is. They got another Liliana.
Nobody knows Domino.
GG Nemesis. GG. Actually, yeah, they're playing it. Play the other Nemesis too, because it's just their life. That's fun. Good game, opponent. It was a GG. Now, could this have gone either way? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think if instead of like a turn 4 Atraxa, if it was a turn 5 Atraxa, then that would have been a little bit more manageable, right? So how did the deck list perform today? Like, I feel like it did not perform very well, but like it kind of like it's kind of messing with me a bit because it kind of like it did the thing, but we just lost a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah, here's the deck list again, guys. Huh. Well, first of all, put it on the do not craft list because it's expensive. This is mythic, right? All 4 of them. All 4 Oculus are in here. That's mythic. Mentor's mythic. Literally everything we're trying to reanimate is mythic. So that's a lot. And then we do have a lot of rares packed in too, right? A Fear of Missing Out is rare. Of course, the mana base too. That can always be used in other builds. Actually, a lot of commons. Reunion, Archaeologist, and Recommission are all common. So we have uncommon with Pyroclasm, Surgical Suite, uncommon with Helping Hand, uncommon with Elspeth Smite, and then common with Torch the Tower too. So like this side of the build is relatively cheap, but when we got like 10 mythics on the top end, at that point, if you're even considering crafting it, I mean, again, put it on the do not craft list, right? I don't think the deck list performed well enough to say just like go out and craft this. Yeah, put it on the do not craft list. But if you had some of the top end, is there like replacements? I don't know. I'm not really sure because any like budget replacements that are 3 drops, are they gonna be worth reanimating or like going through the trouble to reanimate, right? So that's actually, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be many budget replacements. Really like the curve in here. Pyroclasm did not do nearly as much today as I had hoped. I think I would drop this just for better removal. A couple Get Lost or something. Get Lost really would have come in handy against like the Atraxa builds, which apparently were plenty today, right? I think if we played more games and saw more variety, I think we could have brought our win rate up. I do think that much about the list. Like, even though we lost a lot, it kind of performed. But it still lost too much to not call it jank. It's definitely janky. And it's probably much jankier than just the Azorius version, right? Not really sure. I'm really not. I haven't seen too much of the Azorius version. And I don't actually know if it's competitive or not. So maybe the Azorius version is janky too, and we could like potentially compete well against it. I'm not really sure. You guys let me know in the comments for sure. Was cards like Fear of Missing Out worth it in here? I think so. And I think it's like really easy to get Delirium. We have, what, 6 card types in here. Creatures, instants, sorceries, enchantments, lands. No, only 5 card types actually. Delirium, you only need 4. But I feel like it's pretty easy to get. We got enchantments. Let's drag the enchantments over here. We got creatures. There's our creatures. We got sorceries. And the instants. There's all 5 of the card types. A pretty good amount of each card type, right? I think so. And then, of course, when you get Fear of Missing Out in the grave, too, counts as a creature and an enchantment as well. So, yeah, I liked this one, guys. Actually, maybe I went over it a little better at the beginning than I thought, because I can't think of anything that I missed right now. We actually did get to showcase a lot of the synergies in the games as well. I might be missing something, though. Like I said, it is getting late, unfortunately. So bear with me at the end here, too, right? I might be missing something. If I am missing something, if you see like a really interesting synergy in the deck list, definitely let me know in the comments. Yeah, I really don't like how I rearranged that. The mana base. Yeah, that's something I'm missing, right? The mana base felt good. I'm not complaining. When you got a 3-color deck and the mana base is like okay for like 4 out of 5 games, I don't know how many games we actually played. It just felt good, right? Like we weren't really complaining about the mana base. But then when you got a 3-color deck where you can easily trade out and easily see more off the top, right? All 4 bitter reunions, all 4 fear of missing out too, right? So 8 cards early game that can easily trade out to help you find more of your mana base as well. Seems fine. And then also, I think that this is the kind of deck that could operate well if you just see a couple of your colors. So if you just saw your Boros colors and you missed your splash of blue, and look, this is a perfect example as to why the mana base probably felt good. Like we take our splash of blue out and it's like half of the land. But then also in the splash of blue, we have the red and the white as well. And then Fable helps us mana fix with all of it too. Anyways, that's besides the point. Let's say you got unlucky. You only saw the Boros colors. I think you'd be completely fine, right? Because we're just splashing Archaeologist and Oculus. And Oculus you want to send to the grave with one of your red cards anyways. And then you want to bring it back with one of your white cards anyways. So yeah, I think that's probably why it felt so good. Not only do I think the dual lands just worked out nicely, but just one of those deck lists that could operate well if you only saw 2 of your mana colors. Okay, guys. Enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I'm gonna go take a nap. And I will see you next time.